I am Marco from Leonardo Render, and today we want to introduce a project that wants to bring a revolution in the CGI industry. Now, the CGI industry is very exciting. Who of you knows the Avatar movie? Most of you. So that movie is, I would say like 90% of that movie is computer generated. And those incredible images rendered are coming out of computer. And that computing power is enormous to make something that looks like that. And it's incredible. But even having a lot of computing power, like megabytes and megabytes of GPUs, is still a very long process. So we see that the rendering, that's the name of the process to make those images, has a problem. Has a problem that is timing. And in this fast world of things moving really fast, the CGI industry is still sitting in the back of this run. So Leonardo Render wants to empower creators, because creators are the people operating in the CGI industry, and wants to reimagine the rendering, making something for this industry. I'm coming from 15 years in the entertainment industry, and I know the problem of rendering. Let's imagine that you have a deadline, and then your computer tells you that you have to wait a month to get 1 second of animation done. It's incredible. It's completely out of brain. And still today, even with a lot of computing power, it takes months to get seconds of animation done. So, but first, let's take a close look at what is rendering. So rendering is the process that makes a wireframe, the image A, to the image B. So the creator, the artist, literally draw lines that become then the image B. And to go from A to B takes a lot of computing power. Now, we got the problem. Rendering takes time. And how much time? How long it takes? To make one frame, this information comes from Pixar, that declared to have 2,000 processor. It takes 24 hours. So a frame is an image, and an animation is a sequence of images. Now, let's take Avatar. We're talking about Avatar. To make a second of animation, it takes 24 days. Now, let's imagine that you finally have this output, and you watch the result, and you say, no, I think that blue over there is not very good. Let's start all over again. 1 more month to get 1 second. So let's try to solve this problem and see first what creators want. So what they need in order to speed up this process. So the first thing, they want speed, of course. The second thing, they want to work on their computer. So any solution that comes to your mind must consider that CGI creators want their own workstation, because they have their files, their important things inside, and the computer is their own tool. They want the IP protected, of course. Imagine Pixar that sends file in the cloud somewhere in a render farm of the next movie, or Star Wars that, gets spoiled completely because somebody knows how it ends up. Then, of course, a cost-effective solution and an ease of use. The last thing that creators want is to have a complicated tool. So all these solutions must be included in the package of the things that you want to do for creators. Quick look at the GPU, which is the unit that runs the rendering. So one GPU can cost up to $1,000. A professional GPU can be $1,200. And then you need thousands of them. So one is not enough. And even if you have 2 or 3, you have to put them in 3 different computers. You cannot combine them together. So the first thing that comes to our mind is to speed up this process, you need a lot of GPUs. The CGI industry is everywhere, because we are talking about CGI, but it's not only Hollywood, it's not only animation movies. It's everywhere, advertising, product design. Imagine that instead of making conventional photographic shootings or action shootings, you can create everything in the computer. And if the director comes and say, can we just make that product blue instead of white? Call again the photographer, make the set again. Instead, you go in the computer, you change it, and it's very flexible, and it's cost effective. This is how it looks like when a creator designs something, and this is how it looks like after the rendering. Nowadays, it's very realistic. The final goal is photorealistic images. Architecture, advertising, events like this, you can plan and look exactly how it look like the event. So CGI is, of course, in movies and animation movies. This is 100% CGI, like this. And the level of details is going crazy. And to make just a frame like this, it can take, as we said, 1 full day with 2,000 GPUs. This is not a photo. This is the level of details that we can reach now with CGI. This is not a photo. This is out of computer. This is the market. The market of cloud rendering. Cloud rendering is taking over. People cannot afford to have 1,000 GPU in the office because it's noisy, because it's hot, because it takes a lot of electricity, and it's still not enough. So companies like Google Cloud, AWS, are doing crazy good, especially for content creators and architecture, because there are 2 fields that cannot afford to have GPUs in the office. So they use the cloud. The other categories, it looks smaller, like movie studios, advertising and animation. They can afford to have a lot of GPUs, but it costs a lot even when you are not rendering. So we want to serve both of these 2 big groups of clients. The CGI industry will hit almost to 150 billions this year, and is growing fast, is growing vertical. By the way, IKEA, the catalog that most of us know, is 75% CGI. This because 250 pages, 350 pages of catalog cannot be 350 photographic sets. Of course, they don't want to ship all these things around to make exactly what they want. And then probably this piece is going to come white, gray, and black, and so it's triple the number of things that you have to do. This company that I love, these images are not photographs, the CGI. So this is the growth, 400 billions for the cloud computing market, because everything is moving towards the cloud computing, and we want to be part of it. So finally, we got a solution. A decentralized graphic render platform. There is something out there that is trying to make a render solution using GPUs, but we figure out that having one GPU somewhere in the world and the other one in another place of the world and try to combine them together today is impossible. We have a partnership with Gigawatt that we just heard from Dave, and they have 23,000 GPUs in the same location, wide in the same network, and still it's very challenging. But we did it with the software connected to Gigawatt. So Leonardo Render is a software company that allows creators to be connected with large infrastructure of GPUs. Now, the infrastructure is Gigawatt, 23,000 GPU and growing. This is the site. This is just a photo with 4,000 GPUs and the software. The software is a very simple tool, because, as we said, we want an easy tool. We want something that allows creators to work on their computer. And this software, as you can see in the right section, this section here, has a list of GPU availables. You can download for free from leonardorender.com. And by the way, it's already active. It's not an idea. This thing is already working, and we have already clients rendering with us. This is the list of GPUs that we have in Gigawatt at the moment. This is the list of GPU that you allocated with this button here. So you select this one, you say, okay. And all these GPUs will be basically used for your tasks. So you open your computer, download the software, select the GPU that you want, allocate them, and you can close this software. From that moment, your computer, instead of watching the internal GPUs, will watch the Gigawatt GPUs. We are now trying to partner with a gentleman that is here that has another facility in India, so that we can serve also the east side of the world well connected with another 20,000 GPUs. This is the way Leonardo Render works. So you have the user at the very top that with the Leonardo software is connected to the stage 2 after the access to the server, the GPU selection. And then the task gets distributed in the Gigawatt ecosystem to the miners. The miners are the people who own the GPUs in the Gigawatt facility. Now, we can price up to 50 cents for one GPU for 1 hour, and we are still 30% less than our main competitors. Now, the thing is, we are trying to make rendering on hardware that usually make mining, Ethereum mining, or Monero mining. So these people say, sorry, why should I make your render, but I'm mining? Because mining can be up almost 20 times what you make with rendering. Sorry, the opposite. 20 times what you can make with mining. So if we price 50 cents per hour per GPU, or let's say even a half of it, you are still extremely more profitable than mining. So especially in this precise historical moment when ASIC mining could probably put in trouble GPU miners, this is an incredible solution for creators and for GPU miners. You can access the service as a render with PayPal credit card, and we are working to have a payment based on our token. And the only way to be part of the Leonardo ecosystem as a miner is having a certain number of GPUs and a certain protocol that we want to make sure that the quality of the service is at the top. So if you have 1 GPU, 10 GPU, it doesn't work for us, because we figured out that in order to work properly, you got to be in a certain ecosystem. That's why Gigawatt, and that's why our next partner in India is the perfect solution. So we have our own token. So this token is a lockup. So if you want to join the network as a miner, you look up a certain amount of tokens, and you will basically join the network. This is our token sales. Since the project is basically already built, we need 26 millions to run our blockchain architecture that will allow internal transaction, will allow global coverage for quick transactions between miners and renderers. And this is our roadmap. April 2018, we begin the private placement. We are working on the alpha product on May 2018. And then we will start our Leos token staking system on August. And up to 2020, we will launch our Leonardo lab. So we have the infrastructure, we have the service to provide quick rendering that will serve $150 billion industry, which is a CGI, and we will also join the creative side. We will have our bureau of creatives that will join the Leonardo Render Lab. The full application support that we release in the Q3, Q4 2019 is going to have inside full coverage of all the 3D and visual software application. We started with Blender, which is an incredible, successful software, has 500,000 downloads a month. So it's growing incredible. It will be our starting software. So this is just an overview of what is our place in the CGI industry. This is our team. We have Delon, that is here with you, our Chief Strategy Officer. We have Marcin, which is our software developer and the guy who worked 4 years on our software. Then Adrian Song is responsible of all the creative side of Leonardo Render, and our Taylor, who makes sure that nobody fights in the company. And this is the future. We imagine to have, after our facility in Washington State, to have another facility in India and then cover the entire network to make sure that Leonardo Render offer a perfect service all around the world. Thank you very much.